What is everybody, Connor from FTN Daily, back again with the PrizePicks Prop Show, bringing some of my favorite plays for this week's NFL slate. Week 13 is upon us, and honestly, the year is flying by, coming off of a little bit of a hiatus with the holiday. Hopefully you all had a great Thanksgiving and a good holiday, and you're ready to get back into the NFL swing of things here. And since the last time I did a video, PrizePicks has introduced something new over on their site, a 6x play now, or a 6-pick play, which actually gets you 25x your salary. This is a very fun new addition to their site. You know, a lot of times we've been celebrating 10x's and stuff, and 10x, you're never going to complain about that. But adding this new sort of feature to where you can actually go out and get 25x, it's very exciting. Kind of allows you to chase some bigger paydays, some more kind of long shots here. So really pumped for that. So I have 6 picks. Now you don't necessarily need to use all 6 in a 6-pick flex play. You can, pick and choose which ones you like most. Maybe use make a 3 or a 4 or a 5, whatever you want to do. But 6 picks for you guys. Some of my favorite picks of the week. And again, make sure you guys are staying up to date with lines that are changing and whatnot. And if you are curious as to what the models are telling us, head over to FTN Daily, use that PrizePicks Edge tool. I'll update that every day with updated projections and whatnot. But again, if you're a new user, head over there to PrizePicks, use that code FTN to get yourself a 100% match up to $100. You can't beat free money. It's a great way to get a bankroll going over there. But let's get into the picks, but before we do, let me know who your favorite picks are for this week in the comments below. Very curious who you guys are betting on. If you're tailing this pick, let me know. Now let's get into my picks here. Let's start off with pick number 1. It's going to be Mark Andrews over 4.5 receptions. This is probably, I guess, my least confident pick if we're looking for a scale for you guys who might not be looking to bet all 6 of these, but I'm still a big fan of this pick here. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a letdown since the injuries that Andrews suffered about a month or so ago. He's sort of been up and down, as has this entire Baltimore offense, really, and really the entire Baltimore team. It's been a pretty disappointing season so far for Baltimore, but, with no Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews needs to be the driving force of, in my opinion, not only the passing offense, but the offense in general. They've been, leaning on the run game. At times, that's kind of the Ravens' identity, but it's clear to me that Andrews kind of needs to be more involved in the offense. I think 4.5 receptions is a good number, but the reason why I really like this number on PrizePicks is because you don't need to deal with, on sports books, that strong juice or that sort of weak odds that you get on these plays. This is one that's going to benefit more so on a site like PrizePicks where there are no lines, there are no odds. It's just strictly a prop. So Mark Andrews over 5.5 receptions here. Pick number 2, George Pickens, over 46.5 receiving yards. He's gone over this number in back-to-back games with 57 or more receiving yards. Great matchup here against Atlanta. He's clearly stepped into the number 2 in the offense, potentially maybe even the number 1 at times. I know, you can argue Freiermuth and Deontay Johnson are up there. So, it's kind of like a 1A, B, and C situation right now. But at times, it's clear that Pickett is looking for Pickens often, and he's getting a lot of design plays. He's getting a lot of downfield work as well. So, we saw it last week when I believe it was a 35-yard play down the sideline that he made. He has that big play upside that can make this prop look really, really low come the end of the day. And with this great matchup, I think we see Pickens really thrive here against Atlanta. So over 46.5 receiving yards is the second pick. Number 3, we're going to a lot of people's hero from last year, or from last week, I should say. He is dealing with a little bit of an injury, but honestly, it's hard to believe that he's not going to play, and that's Josh Jacobs. He was banged up last week coming into the game with the calf injury. He re-aggravated it in the fourth quarter of the game. And what does he do? He comes back in overtime and rips off an 83-yard touchdown to walk off the game in overtime. He looked as healthy as ever on that touchdown. Maybe he had some adrenaline going, whatever it was, but he's been limited in practice back-to-back days, and typically limited practices aren't something I want to be overly positive about, but the initial reports were that he wasn't going to practice at all. There's a chance that he just wouldn't practice at all. So for the fact that he was on the field, not only on a Friday or whatever it is, on Wednesday and Thursday, I think that is very positive for Josh Jacobs. Over 90.5 is the line here. This is a really strong matchup for opposing running backs here against the Chargers. The role is completely unquestioned now for Josh Jacobs. He's going to be heavily involved. We saw Zamir White get 2 carries last week, and those are the only 2 carries that a running back on the Raiders has gotten over the last 2 weeks. So it's very clear Josh Jacobs is going to be the lead back here. Even if he is injured coming into the game, I think he's going to still dominate the touches here and he should thrive here in this matchup against the Chargers, who rank bottom 3 per rush DVOA. They are averaging over 5.7 yards per carry allowed, so it's just a really good matchup for Jacobs, who has a very strong role. He should continue to be a workhorse in this offense. So those are the first 3 picks. Let's get on to the next 3. Sticking with the running back at that same line, 90.5, Nick Chubb, over 90.5 rushing yards. Another running back who has a very strong role and a good offense and a good matchup. So it's just, checking tons of boxes here for Nick Chubb. He gets a date against Houston this week, and it's going to be Deshaun Watson's first game on the Cleveland Browns. So maybe we see, Cleveland show off Watson a little bit. But in my opinion, I'm not really sure it matters. Like, Nick Chubb, the matchup is just so good. As good as it is for Josh Jacobs, it's better for Nick Chubb. All those numbers I just mentioned, they're 30th against the run per rush DVOA. They're allowing over 150 rushing yards per game to opposing running backs and nearly 5.5 yards per carry. So it's an elite matchup here for Nick Chubb, who again has a very strong role and solidified usage in this offense. So Nick Chubb over 90.5 rushing yards is pick number 5. Number four, Christian McCaffrey over 47.5 rushing yards is going to be pick number 5. Really like this spot here. It's just more so, not attacking the matchup or not attacking anything really in particular. It's more so just attacking the fact that I think that line makers or books, whatever you want to call it, they might not be adjusting quite enough to what situation McCaffrey has here. Now, McCaffrey got banged up in last week's game. He came out early this week and said he's going to be a full go, no limitations. It was a knee injury, so maybe something to monitor there. I think I saw a brace on him at one point in the game, which obviously is not something that you love to see there. But, with him coming out and saying that he's going to be a full go, whether it's 100% true or not, I think that they're still going to utilize him heavily. And now with no Elijah Mitchell, who's been, I think he's been ruled out for the year, but either way, not going to be there this week with a significant knee sprain there. He should get a ton of work in this backfield. I know they still have some guys behind him that they can mix in, but they're not going to have the confidence in those guys like they did with Elijah Mitchell, who's been a proven back over the last year and a half or so. But McCaffrey over 47.5 rushing yards. It's a very low number here for a guy who really, you give him 10 carries here, and he has a very good chance at going over. My model has him projected for nearly 65 yards on just 14 carries. And again, I would not be that surprised to see a 17, 18 carry game here from Christian McCaffrey in what should be a very exciting game with the San Francisco 49ers taking on Miami. Mike McDaniel versus Kyle Shanahan. Really excited for that game. But final pick of the day, we're going for a one-play payday type option here. Miles Sanders over 5.5 receiving yards. He had 17 last week, and honestly, it's really hard to feel great about his role in the passing offense, just because at times they're going to use Kenny Gainwell. They're going to use Boston Scott at times, and then Jalen Hurts is obviously going to run a lot. But when you look at this matchup in particular, no team in the NFL is allowing more targets to opposing running backs than the Tennessee Titans. They're also allowing the second most catches and over 43 receiving yards per game to opposing running backs. So this should be a really good matchup for Miles Sanders, who I think it really only takes one catch to get over this number here. I think there's a chance that he might have a multi-catch game here, which would basically solidify over 5.5 receiving yards. So that's going to do it for the 6 picks. So if we can get a nice 25x, that would be a great way to start the week here. And obviously, when we're talking this new sort of play style over at PrizePicks with the new 6-pick play for 25x, looking to get off on a good foot here. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Helps us out a ton. We just reached the 7K subscriber mark. So for all of you subscribers, thank you so much for your support. We do appreciate it. If you could like the video, leave a comment below who you are, taking this week on PrizePicks. So what are some of your favorite props of the week? Looking forward to a fun week 13 of games. That's going to do it for us. We will see you guys next time. And as always, good luck, everybody.